Hello, my name is Worksheet and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be explaining to you what charisma does, or to the best of my ability what charisma does. I will not be going over any of the mantras, so don't you worry about that. All I'm going to be doing is going over what the stat does purely. And it says your ability to influence others with your personality increases ether. So I want to figure out just how much ether it does increase, so let's get down into that. I'm going to go with no element, so I have 10 free skill points. And then, as we load in here, okay, there we go. As we load in here, we could go to a campfire and see how much ether we have and how much it increases per point of charisma. And then we could see the most efficient way to obtain ether, as I already know how much it increases by intelligence, and so on and so forth. So my ether is currently, as it sits, 100, as it should be, and reservoir is 200, as that should be. So if we increase our charisma, that increases our ether by 1, and then by 2, by 1, and then by 2, by 1, and then by 2, by 1, and the next one should be increased by 2. But if we increase our intelligence, both ether and reservoir should increase by 2. That is correct. Now let's see it some more. Okay. So, how this works out. Intelligence increases your ether and reservoir both by 2. Willpower increases your reservoir by 1.5. So it's like 1.5 per level. And now charisma, we figured out, increases your ether by 1.5. So it is not the best way to obtain ether, but it is a way. And for sure, the mantras do make up for it. So, what else can we test? To my knowledge, the only other thing that charisma does influence is... Let me see real quick. Let me buy a gold ring. Thank you. And by buy, I mean steal. Is there are some dialogue that does require a bit of charisma. So, we could go over here and talk to this guy and not buy that. And as you can see, if you have enough charisma, you could probably ask him to. But I don't. I only have 7 charisma, so that's not really that much. So obviously he's not going to tell me anything. So if you have a higher charisma, you could probably just ask him for Pleatsky's method off the bat without having to give him any embers or anything. So that is a thing. I'm also going to test if it increases sell prices, although I doubt it, as there is a card that does increase that. But let's check anyway. The only other thing I can think of that it would increase is reputation gain. But there's no easy way to gauge that, so I'm not going to test that. I'm only going to test this selling of this ring here, and we should be good. 25 notes, yeah. I do not believe sell prices are at all affected by charisma. It's only affected if you get the certain card that is offered, if you have a high enough of charisma, so yeah. The only thing that the base stat of charisma does is increase your ether by 1.5 per point of charisma. Now, going over some of the cards that it does, I'm not going to go over every single one, but just want to go over some of the main ones. There is one that allows you to, when you get hit, you take less damage from that character, and you deal more damage to that character. It's very good. I heard you could get it at 20 charisma, so if you want to take a 20 dip into charisma at any point to gain that, that is a good one to obtain. Sell prices is also one to get if you want more notes, even though notes, frankly, don't really have too much of a purpose, other than now upgrading your spells, and also buying boats and armor and so on and so forth. But if you do want that one, I have also gotten 20 charisma. I've not gotten so much on charisma, because, I don't know, I don't find this stat, frankly, that enticing. But what is enticing is the vows and all of that. So there's vows that you can make, a vow of mastery on people, your allies or otherwise, that you could boost them by fight, run, attack, and so on, that boost their prowess and that type of thing. So if you have a vow of mastering at somebody, and you have the run command, let's say you get that because you have a high enough charisma, that person will run faster than what they normally would if they did not have that command on. And they will just run. They do what they tell you. if you have the fight command and you could tell them to fight somebody, they will gain increased damage, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I have not used it personally, but it's what I've been hearing, is that it increases your damage on on attacks and so on and so forth. So that is also a thing, as well as there's talents you could get to resurrect your people, your homies, like almost instantly. It's very good if you want to go down a Charisma and Vow build. I do suggest it if you plan to do that, as it doesn't really have any other use besides that. But other than that, I do not believe I have anything else for you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm out. Hopefully that goes over some things about what Charisma does.